Who would have guessed a guy trying to save John F. Kennedy would take a little side trip to Derry, Maine of all places? What's going on, you guys? It's your boy, Movie Boy Mike, and today I want to talk to you guys about Jake Epping's trip to Derry from the novel 11/22/63 by Stephen King. But before we get into it, please be sure to smash that like and subscribe button. It really goes a long way, especially in Derry, Maine. Now let's get right into it.
Jesus Christ!
Now, to anybody unfamiliar with the story, 11/22/63 by Stephen King is a story about a teacher named Jake Epping who goes back in time to save John F. Kennedy from being assassinated. This is one of Stephen King's greatest works, and I truly do believe it's completely underrated. I'm sure most of you have seen the 2016 TV adaptation starring James Franco. But however, in the novel, a lot of Jake Epping's time is actually spent in Derry, Maine, as he tries to save Harry Dunning from the fate of his father, as his father on Halloween night murdered his entire family except for Harry Dunning. So Jake finds out that his friend Al, who owns the diner locally in town, has cancer and is not going to be around much longer. But on top of that, Jake also finds out that he's got a time portal that takes you back to 1958. But in the TV show, it takes you back to 1960. So Jake finally decides to honor Al's dying wish, and he goes back in time to save John F. Kennedy. But before he decides to go on that big mission, he decides to test out the time portal to see if it actually works. So what Jake does is he tries to save his friend Harry Dunning first, before he saves JFK, just to make sure that whatever he does in the past will affect the future, which he learns it does.
It was 1960, and I lived in Holden, Kentucky.
In the novel, Harry Dunning is from Derry, Maine, not Holden, Kentucky. I really wish they had added this in the TV show, because believe me, Derry, Maine is a whole lot more interesting and frankly dangerous than Holden, Kentucky. I've never even heard of Holden, Kentucky, have you? But when Jake goes to Derry, boy oh boy does his life get very interesting and frankly quite disturbing. Jake describes Derry as an evil and disturbing town, with an eerie, disturbing presence in the air, especially amongst the people. Keep in mind, this is the same place where his friend's father murdered his entire family. Makes perfect sense when you narrow it down in the Stephen King multiverse map. That seems like the place where it would happen. So while Jake is scoping out the town of Derry, he runs into Beverly Marsh and Richie, of all people. Now this is the part where Stephen King really rewards readers. Keep in mind, this is October in 1958, just a few months after the Losers Club defeated Pennywise. So when Jake actually runs into Beverly and Richie, the two of them are still pretty shook and traumatized from the events that happened in the sewer. Beverly goes as far as to ask Jake in their dialogue if he's ever encountered any clown throughout his time in Derry. Jake replies that he hasn't. Beverly then mentions to Jake how the grown-ups in town don't see the evil that happens right before their eyes, and that all the bad things in town are narrowed down to one evil thing feeding off the people of Derry. Jake throughout the novel remembers this little encounter from Beverly, and even after he leaves Derry, he often reflects on what Beverly had told him about the town of Derry. He often questions the sanity of the town, along with the sanity of its residents. Jake stays in Derry for a few weeks. If anything, Derry was practice for Jake's big showdown with Lee Harvey Oswald. Eventually, Jake sticks around and waits for the moment Harry Dunning's father tries to kill the entire family on Halloween night. So when the time finally comes around, Jake goes to Harry Dunning's house, prevents his father Frank Dunning from killing the family, and he shoots and kills Frank before he ends up killing the entire family. And I think it's really telling that Frank Dunning murdered his entire family the same year that Pennywise was allegedly defeated. I think it really goes to show how the influence that Pennywise has on the town still rubs off, even months after it goes back into hibernation. Once Jake saves Harry Dunning, he ends up going back to 2011, where he's from, to see if what he did in the past affected the future, and this is where he finds out it does, but there's always a catch with anything you do with time travel. Harry Dunning then later dies in Vietnam, a little bit better of an outcome than what had originally happened, but this was proof to Jake that whatever he does in the past does change the future. But I think it's really telling how both Jake and the Losers Club are dealing with the supernatural within Derry, if you want to call it that, time travel versus an extraterrestrial clown spider. But I really wish they had added this in the TV series, especially considering the TV show was made in 2016, just a year before It Chapter 1 hit theaters. It would have been really great to see this little crossover. With the movie timeline, it would have been a little bit difficult, but still, I really would have loved to see Jake Epping meet Beverly Marsh on screen. Maybe we'll get that someday, or maybe I'll just have to make a fan edit for you guys just to show you how I think it happened in the novel. Anyways, what do you guys think about Jake Epping's trip to Derry? Do you think they should have added this in the TV show? Let me know in the comment section. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like what you see, hit that like and subscribe button for more. We all float down here, and you will too. I'll catch you guys next time.
Was that Movie Boy Mike? Oh boy, think that was Movie Boy Mike?